Welcome back to Animal Appreciation. This week we're talking about nudibranchs, more commonly known as sea slugs. I am literally obsessed with them. So this is the butterfly sea slug, also called the leaf-gilled sea slug. I did make a video a while ago identifying this and stitching another video, so that's pretty cool. I love these guys, they're really pretty. They're found pretty commonly throughout the Indian and Pacific Ocean, so they like warmer climates and coral reefs and that. Next we have probably the most famous type of nudibranch, the blue dragon sea slug. These guys are pretty famous in media, known for being very, very toxic. This is due to the food that they eat. This is because they largely eat the Portuguese man-of-war, and those are very, very toxic. And sea slugs do this thing where they just take up properties of the food that they eat. There's a bunch of different cases of this, but in this specific one, they take up the stinging cells from the man-of-war and incorporate them into their own cells. So when you pick up these guys, you're technically getting stung by a Portuguese man-of-war, which is not a good time. So they are very pretty, but there have definitely been cases of people getting pretty badly injured by these guys. This is the clown sea slug. Again, a very, very interesting looking one. These guys all look like just super cool. But this is the clown, not crown sea slug. They are found throughout the Pacific Ocean, so on the American side, from all the way up from Alaska down to Mexico. My god, I cannot speak. And even on the other side of the Pacific, around Japan and South Korea. That's a bit less common, but they have been found there too. This is the Loesch's chromadoris. I don't know if I'm saying either of those words correctly, but it is also found in the Indo-Pacific area, so around Malaysia and Indonesia, then all the way down to the northern coast of Australia. Fun fact, these guys actually inspired the designs for a couple Pokemon. I don't know which ones because I have never been into Pokemon, but there we go. This is a kind of crazy looking one, the purple-tipped Genolus, and it is also found around like South Asia, East Asia, around that. Very interesting. Not a lot of information about them on the internet, but they just look pretty neat. This is the Hopkins Rose nudibranch, and you know those toys you used to get as a kid where they're basically like this squishy ball with a bunch of tentacles coming off of them? That's what these guys remind me of. But basically, they live all up and down the west coast, more in America, not as much in Canada, but specifically around California they're found. But these guys are actually kind of becoming a problem in California recently, just because their population is becoming way too high, and that's causing all sorts of problems in the ecosystem. But regardless, they do look pretty cool, even if they're being a little bit difficult right now. This is the crested Nembrotha sea slug. Again, I don't think I'm saying that correctly, but it is more commonly known as the cabbage sea slug, and they're again found in the Indo-Pacific Ocean. Like most sea slugs, like the warmer areas, like warm tropical coral reef, all of that. That's where they are mostly found, but these guys just look fucking sick, and I love them. They look fake. Like, this does not look like a real animal to me. This is the Spanish dancer, the largest type of sea slug, and it looks like, you know those fancy, like, salsa skirts and dresses and, like, all of those fancy things with the frills and the skirts? Yeah, I can see it. This is the largest type of sea slug, and they're mostly found in the Indo-Pacific Ocean again, but can be found all the way up into the Red Sea. This is the bunny sea slug, and it's absolutely adorable. I am obsessed with these guys. They live throughout the Indo-Pacific Ocean once again, and once again, these guys are very toxic, so please don't touch them, even though they look really cute. They are toxic, they are poisonous. Most nudibranchs are, but yeah. Then we come to my all-time favorite nudibranch species, the leaf sheep sea slug, and I am obsessed with these guys again. They are among the very, very few animals that can do photosynthesis. I think the rest of them are also nudibranchs, but they get their photosynthetic abilities from the algae they eat. So much like how the blue dragon sea slug absorbs toxins from the jellyfish it eats, these guys absorb the chloroplasts from the algae they eat. So they eat the algae and then incorporate the chloroplasts into their own cells, so they can then do photosynthesis in their own cells, get that little extra bit of energy. These are a somewhat new species, so not a ton is known about them, other than the fact that they're super fucking cool, but they tend to live around Japan and the Philippines, and they're also little. They max out at about 1 centimeter, so that is absolutely adorable. This is the lettuce sea slug. This is yet another photosynthetic sea slug, just like the leaf sheep that I just showed, and these guys live more in the Atlantic Ocean, and in and around the Caribbean. And finally, we have our sea angels, or also known as sea butterflies. These are actually free-swimming sea slugs, so that means they just swim around in the water instead of kind of staying on the surface of coral and rocks and stuff. And these guys have a very wide distribution. They can live in tropical waters, but all the way up to colder climates. And these guys are also not deep sea, but they do tend to live relatively deep in the ocean. But they just, again, these look fake. These don't look like real things. But yeah, happy Sea Slug Saturday, and I am absolutely obsessed with them.